Hi, I'm Kelly B. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Running on Empty, where my gas tank is always half full, or as you may have guessed, running on fumes. Please sit back, put your feet up, and enjoy the journey. Everyone is family here. Please subscribe, like, and share. This video will take us back to a time that seemed happy. Life was less complicated. My family was living the American dream. But things are not always what they seem. We were living on a mountaintop where the views were astonishing. We were surrounded by beautiful green trees. The mountain air was crisp, cool, and clean. My family loved our home. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. But the housing crash set in. Our dream came at too high of a cost. We had to sell our dream. I suppose we were lucky because we didn't lose the house. So many others did. This move would be the seventh move over several years' time. When we had bought the house, the moving was supposed to stop. We procrastinated about moving out. Eventually the time came that we had to go. I honestly didn't know where we were going. Our family friend had a 100-year-old cabin on their ranch that they offered to rent to us. We accepted the offer. The 100-year-old cabin was about an hour from town. It was only a few miles from the Canyon Ferry Lake. When looking at the house, I imagined taking the kids to the lake for picnics and to go swimming. The house was off the main road and nestled in a gully. There were no neighbors for miles around. That suited me just fine. At first glance of the cabin, it was very cute and rustic. It had a nice porch with a swing. This would become one of my favorite places to be on the property. It had a fenced-in backyard just perfect for the dogs. It had 2 bedrooms, a very large living room attached to the dining room. The kitchen was small but functional. It had a mud room on the back. The bathroom had a clawfoot tub with no lock on the door. There was also a basement, which after viewing I quickly decided that no one would ever be going down there. The most amusing thing about moving into a 100-year-old cabin was the fact that it came with its very own outhouse. The kids loved telling friends that dropped by that it was our only bathroom. Most were not amused by this. This brings me to the bright crimson door on the house. It bothered my mother immediately. She had huge reservations about moving in. I told her it was just red paint. Well, I was wrong. Years later, I researched why people paint doors red and found out it varied by culture. Some painted it to show their mortgage was paid off, others to bring good luck. However, some painted it red to keep evil spirits away. I don't think it worked. The house and property seemed peaceful enough. I honestly thought it would be a good place to be. My kids and dogs would have plenty of space to roam and play, but it didn't take long for things to change. At first, little things began to happen that would pretty much go unnoticed because there were 8 people living in this little cabin. It would be easy to think that one of the kids left the door open or moved the item you were looking for. However, the occurrences became more bizarre and noticeable the longer that we lived there. The first thing that started to happen was the basement door was left open. This irritated me tremendously because I didn't think the basement was safe and didn't want the kids down there. I bought a hook and eye lock for added security, but that didn't work. One day, my youngest child was walking by the open doorway to the staircase that led to the basement. She said that she heard something down there calling her name. She stopped out of curiosity and wondered who was down there. The next thing she remembered was feeling something standing behind her and shoving her hard down the dark stairway to the basement. I was outside and could hear her screaming. I ran inside to find the doorway open and her cries coming from the dark basement. I fumbled in the stairway trying to find the light switch. I ran down the rickety stairs to find her in a heap on the floor, shrieking in fear. I looked around the dark, dingy, damp basement. As I tried to calm my hysterical child, I sensed something watching us, but nobody was there. Suddenly the light went out and the basement door slammed shut. This freaked us both out. I could feel something in the dark near us. I picked my daughter up and tried to feel my way to the staircase. I finally found it and prayed that we were not locked in as we climbed the stairs. Fortunately, the door was open when I turned the handle. That day, I drove to town to get a padlock for the door. There would be no more cases of children falling down the stairs. A few days later, we went to town for groceries. We ran into a ranch hand that worked on the ranch. He asked how things were going at the house. We said that they were fine. He began to laugh like he didn't believe us. Things continued to happen that seemed strange. Everyone began to joke about the house being haunted and that the ghost was mad because we were living there. I was not laughing. The next thing that occurred was an outbreak of allergic reactions in our house. My son's friend and girlfriend both had severe allergic reactions when visiting the house, and both ended up in the ER. The doctor had no logical explanation for this happening. They were checked for spider bites and other logical things, but nothing was ever determined. The strangest thing began to happen in the dining room that we had turned into a bedroom. The kids began complaining that something was touching them while they were trying to sleep. The bedroom door would open and close when nobody was standing there. If everything that happened wasn't enough to make a person want to move out, the next few events would definitely be. One beautiful sunny afternoon, the kids were playing outside near the entrance that led to the pasture where the sheep were kept. A man appeared out of nowhere and told them to never go into the pasture because the dogs would attack and kill them. The kids immediately came to the house to tell us. I was worried that our dogs and kids would not be safe outside if this were true. I called the owner and he said that no one was working that pasture and the dogs would not hurt us. I was still concerned, so I told the kids to stay in the yard and not explore anymore. We also started hearing noises coming from the outbuildings at night. A few times we even thought that we saw someone moving around out there. None of the previous events could prepare me for what would come next. I never imagined that I would be afraid of things that I could not see. I began having the most terrifying nightmares that I have ever had. I was dreaming that I was trapped in this house with my family being burned alive. Each dream became more vivid. I woke up several times smelling fabric burning. I would find my quilt on the heater that was mounted to the wall. I shut this heater off, but it continued to happen. The quilt would be hot when you touched it, but the heater was not on. Then one evening, we were all sitting in the living room together playing a game. We started smelling smoke and heard a crackling sound from the attic. We could not see any smoke. Finally, we called the volunteer fire department. They came to check out the house. They could smell the smoke as well. They went up in the attic and could not find any issues. They also went down into the basement. They couldn't find anything but felt that the electrical system should be looked at, just in case. I continued to have the night terrors of the house burning. We began to look for somewhere else to live. I had received an offer for a job in Las Vegas. I began to seriously consider it. Then the worst thing happened that I could imagine. My night terrors were about to become very real. It was in the middle of the night, and I was woke up by the sounds of our dogs barking in the mudroom. I suddenly realized that I could barely breathe and could smell smoke. I woke my kids up that were sleeping next to me. I kicked the glass out of the bedroom window and threw the sheet over it. I screamed at them to climb out and go get the dogs. I told them I would go get Grandma and their sister. I broke the window out of their room and told them to get out. We all got out that night with our lives. By the time the help got there, the house had burned to the ground. The next day, I accepted the job waiting for me in Vegas. Fortunately for us, the house had come furnished. Most of our things were in a storage unit. We will never know what caused that fire. I'm just happy that we are alive to tell the tale. I hope that you have enjoyed my spooktacular story. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share.